Where'd you learn how to do that? Must be someone scummy if you do that. Who's that tool brand there on your ball cap? Must be paid in cash, no tax and all that.
You make that up?
I stole the lyrics from Keith Urban.
Is that what it is?
I modified it. Yeah,
you modified it. A little version. Alex, welcome back to the show, bro.
What's going on?
Good to see you, man.
Thank you.
And right beside you, you got a handsome gentleman there. He's on the side there.
He's not lying.
No. I'll save the lies for later on.
All right.
So we got Jason back on the show. He's going to be
Bert.
doing like some co-hosting duties with me along with Alex there. And excuse me.
I'll ask the questions nobody wants to ask.
That's it. All right. So, Alex, how do you pronounce your last name again? I'm not going to butcher it, man. Maggiacamo. So, obviously, again, you're Irish, right?
Yep.
No.
100%.
Universal Aluminum Products Ltd. I got a lot of questions for you, man. We got to talk a lot about suppliers and business and GDP and all that crap.
Gosh.
Like, we got to figure out how Canada is not further ahead is what we got to talk about on today's show. Oh. You game for that, Jay?
Oh, yeah.
You game for that, huh?
Yeah.
So you're the manager there. The business has been around for about 40 years. Website is universalaluminumproducts.ca. You can reach Alex at universalaluminumproducts.ca. Instagram is
Universal Aluminum Products.
that's what I thought it was, right? Yep. And Jay, again, the Keystone Contractor. Everybody's always quoting, you know? You say something on the show,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden someone's on the show, and they go, Jay from the Keystone said this. You better prepare for all this stuff, right? So careful what you say, because it will be quoted.
Yeah, and it once it's on the internet, it's there.
there.
After the last show, my wife had a little sit down with me and discussed words I'm not allowed to say anymore.
That's fine. www.thekeystonecontractor.com. Email is info@thekeystonecontractor.com. And on Instagram, it's the Keystone Contractor. The. All right. So before we start the show, I actually wanted to just do a little shout out. First of all, Joe, I'm wearing his tee. JR Windows and Doors Garage. We all know.
Joe Fernandez, awesome guy.
Have you met him, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you've met him, right? So, Joe, thanks so much for the tee. I'm wearing it. But I also I got a couple of interesting DMs yesterday. I was really fascinated by that, and I just want to share it. One was a kid, Irish lad, Jack Henchy. I apologize, Jack, if I bastardize your last name there, but I'm kind of hoping it is. So he's an Irish lad who moved to Texas, and he just found the show. 23 years old, loves construction, and he couldn't believe that this show has never been around, and he's just started listening. He's in eight shows in, and he's loving it. He's brilliant. So it's funny, he's listening to the earlier shows, so he's going to watch the evolution of TCL as he comes along to this modern-day show. And then as I was chatting with him, he was very complimentary, and he was like, this is amazing that you guys are giving up so much information, and you're educating this younger generation and helping us out because we need this guidance, is what he was talking about. So I said, Jack, I'm going to connect with you, and I'm going to get you on the show. We're going to talk to you from Texas via Toronto, and you're going to let me know about your experience from Ireland and get back and forth and do that whole thing. And then I had another gentleman, Carlos Andreas. Now, I asked him to come on the show. He was very complimentary on the last few shows, and then he goes, listen, Manny, I'm actually in Colombia. And I'm like, that's amazing that you're listening to it, first of all. Second, you're coming on the show. So I'm going to talk to you because I want to know how you guys build there, and I want to compare it to here, and I want to see what we're doing wrong. That's all I want to do. So Carlos is going to get on this show, and that's going to be interesting. Cool. So I wanted to share those and get those out of there because I love getting these DMs from these guys and the girls and on the listen to the show, man.
That's awesome.
But
just
today,
so far away.
Let's get started, man. Where do you want to start, Alex?
Yeah. Well, we could start at supply.
Let's start.
I mean, that's been.
I love what you were saying off
years.
mic, just talking about okay. So the COVID madness BS.
Yeah.
Is it done? Or are you a politician with a suit and saying it's not done?
Well, any politician with a suit's going to say it's not done. They make it look like
business owners. Let's talk tradespeople and business owners, man.
Let's not talk politics. I don't know. Honestly, it's hard for me to say. Like, I'm noticing on some ends, yes.
Still going up price?
Depends.
Are you still eating?
We're eating very little.
Okay.
Like us personally, but
his prices have really stabilized. I've noticed, I buy all over the place.
When you say stabilized,
at least with what they're
Okay,
paying and what they're charging out.
like a 2x4 is everyone's saying it's reasonable. It's like 5 and change for a 2x4.
Yeah, but it's still double what it was a couple of years ago.
Exactly. So it's still double,
Yeah.
but it's no different than gas right now in Ontario, Toronto, whatever is $1.50, $1.60, whatever. But
Yeah.
Vancouver just hit a record high at 2.49 or something like that.
That's nothing compared to Europe.
Oh yeah, and Europe's just it's insane what's going on.
Europe's been paying our prices for years.
When you guys say stabilize,
Well, stabilized meaning there's going to be a price increase on one of our foams, single component foams we sell, the Hilti.
they already gave you a heads up on that?
They give me a heads up October 1st, so today. So I bought 30 skids
Before
before.
to hold that
To
price.
hold the price.
Yeah.
Well, hold the price
What's-
for a while,
What's the increase?
10 points.
That's a lot, man. I'm sorry, but that's a lot.
I know. And unfortunately, it's not going to take me that long to go through it.
You'll
Or
go
take us that
fast.
long, rather. Sorry.
So what's the
we'll go through
reason? Why,
quickly.
what's the excuse?
Cost?
Cost
And
of
it's manufactured in Germany, that product.
yeah, but okay, for all the Hilti diehard lovers
Yeah.
out there, I get it, I understand, and plus, by all means, it's an amazing product,
It is.
right? But
But I mean, we also had to buy that, I'll say over a month ago now. So we're still going through it. By the time we finish going through the old price stock, we'll call it, it'll be going up again. So there's going to be something in between where something's got to give.
so Alex, as a supplier, even though okay, so you made that deal how far back now?
Probably sometime in August we made that deal.
For an October 1st. So now from
Well, he didn't give us that much notice. It's just how we've been buying.
but then
been
now
buying
you're already
15 skids
thinking
at a
of, you're,
time.
you're thinking about November now. You're thinking about the end
November.
of the year.
And we also know that every year, January, there's usually a price increase across the board on pretty much everything from every supplier.
But that's like the normal.
which is normal.
But
so
you've-
we wanted to prepare for that,
You've
and then
already
we got
had-
hit
how
with
many,
an
how many
October one
increases
too.
did you have this year already?
With that one product alone, it's probably 3 to us.
How many increases have you had over the last 2 years? Well, this is the third year, I guess,
Oh,
of
gosh,
COVID,
it
whatever.
feels like almost every quarter there's an increase on something.
But you know what's cool? You purchased 30 skids ahead of the game to honor your price commitments that you've got
At
now.
least for the year, if
But
we can.
Pretty much every other supplier I know would do that and then hit October 1st and charge the extra amount simply because they can. You know what I mean?
because they know that you'll buy.
Well, they know that there's a price increase and they'll just say, hey, price of foam went up. Here's an extra 15 points.
Where's the cap? Like, I've said this before, tradespeople are not the strongest business people. But during this whole thing, I bet you any money class is in now,
Oh, yeah.
right?
Big
So
time.
now they're sitting down and they're going, hang on a sec.
More and more guys are sharpening
Here's
their
my
pencil.
supplies. This is what it's costing. This is what it was costing. Here's what it potentially might cost. They're going to start pulling it in.
I hear
Yeah.
more and more guys who are basically not honoring their old commitments, even though they say they've given a quote. It's going to cost, say, 100,000 for this. Pricing went up, and people are saying, "Well, you need to honor that." They're better off just saying no. They're not going to go out of business losing. They're not going to go out of business saying no. But if they say did that job and honored that commitment, take a hit, that can put them out of business.
But here's the thing. This is all eating into profit. So we're still business owners. We're still
Yeah.
running a ship. At some point, you have to just put the white flag up and go, I'm not making money now. It's not worth it. When I start calculating, I don't know, the person at McDonald's is making more money than me right now on this job. Is it going to be better the next job? Is that what we do? We kind of hope for the future where we think the next job I might recoup,
I think that's one of the unfortunate things in construction as a whole is a lot of people do that.
but it keeps on going
Yeah.
into the next job, the next job.
Yeah, I think I forget who you were talking to, but it was you were talking about guys would rather make a little bit on a lot of jobs than make a lot on one job. And we used to have a lot of clients like that. One guy actually said to my father years ago before I was around, it's like, I'd rather do 10 jobs and make $50 or $500 on a job.
Then one big job that makes me 10 grand.
Exactly. I don't want to lose those little jobs. And it's like, well, you could do, a week's worth of work for $5,000, one job, or you could do 10 days worth of work at $500 a day a job.
What's the better model, Jay?
It depends because I've fallen into those traps. So if you're a bigger company, you have guys, you've got crews. Sure, you can do big jobs because you can set guys up. I know guys that have like two crews, 3 crews, and whenever you're doing a reno, whatever you're doing, siding. If it's a big project where you're there for multiple weeks, months, you can set guys up and you can bounce around job to job. But for someone like me, who's got myself and one or two guys, if I go and take on a large job, great, it's a good payday, I'm making my but I disappear, right? All of a sudden, if I'm not out there, if I'm not taking in new quotes, I'm not going and estimating, I'm not taking on new customers, I disappear. Then people, when they think about bathrooms, windows, doors, when they think about what I can do, they'll call me up, or they'll know that, well, Jason's busy, so probably doesn't have time for this. When I get, I can show you the texts I get. The first, hey Jay, are you still doing windows and doors? Yep. How crazy busy are you? Can you fit me in?
Fit you in meaning what? In the next 2 weeks?
Just in general. Because
this year,
I get it all the time. That's the number. That is the general introduction I get from anybody. Hey Jay, how are you? Still doing this? Do you have any time? And with windows and doors, it's nice because you have time.
Yeah.
You can go in between. Yeah. It's based on project to project. But a renovation, I've stopped doing big renos because of that. Yeah. Because when I'm by myself, or if I'm with 2 or 3 guys and we're doing a reno, you show up to do it. The people expect you to be there Monday to Friday, kind of 9 to 5 type thing. And if I don't show up for a couple of days because I'm on another project, they get very, twisty, don't like it. Yeah. And they're like, well, what are we paying all this money for? Where are you?
Okay, so if I can ask, it's one of those situations, would you rather have a 5-day job that's a full house of windows, let's say windows and doors, or would you rather have 5, 6, 7 days of 2 windows here, a door here?
Oh yeah, and for me, when I use that model, I'm good with. That's why I stick with like whole house window lots, like a week or two's worth of work, no problem. I can commit to that. But when you get like a bathroom 2 weeks to a month, depending on the severity of the tear out, if there's any remodeling, even 2 weeks to a month is good because again, they also know when I sell a job, I tell people I'm going to be here doing this, but we're not here every day because we have other customers, other things to do, and your job is not 20. It's not 20 days worth of work every single day. We have to wait for this.
Correct me if I'm wrong. This year alone, you've done more window and door installs than renos, right?
Yes, I have.
Yeah, but you've
in 20.
That's just by accident by so many clients.
20 and 20 when COVID hit, it was the year of the bathroom. Came back to me, flourished because I don't know what it was.
You couldn't get units, first of all. The units turn around and but it's still the problem. You still
dealing
with
21 was the same, and now this year, 22. Windows and doors have become prolific again, the bathrooms, and I've also pushed them back because of those parameters. I would rather take on 5 to 10 window jobs than commit myself, because it's never just a bathroom reno. It's never, people don't want, it's never, if it's one thing, then can you look at this, can you look at this, can you look at this?
Since you're already here.
Yeah. Exactly.
But correct me if I'm wrong, like I know you were telling me earlier, you're not having too many issues getting glass, getting windows, getting doors.
Yeah.
But I mean, we hear it from our clients all the time where they're saying, there's some kind, in a lot of cases where they're ordering a standard size patio door, so a 5 foot, a 6 foot standard, and minimum lead time is anywhere from 12 to 16 weeks.
I cannot understand.
I don't get those two numbers, man.
I don't understand why it's taking so long for other people to get product when I'm literally getting it within.
So why are you getting it so quick?
I have no idea. Like my door supplier, Ruskin Doors, they are on the ball.
But their glass is still coming stateside?
Yeah. I don't know where they, well, I mean, for them glass, unless you're getting into like patterned glass, textured glass, very specific.
Custom stuff, right?
Custom stuff. That's got to take. But just the doors that we sell, we're not selling these ultra high contemporary modern doors with all like the stainless steels. I've sold maybe 1 or 2 of those, and those do take months to make. I tell people probably going to take 6 months for a custom door. I tell that right at the get-go so they're aware of it. But for most standard doors in most mom and pop type houses that you just sell to the average customer, they have it ready for me in like 4 to 8 weeks. Right? And that's fine. I have no problem with that.
That's standard, I believe.
Yeah. But with the windows, I mean, I'm still hearing nightmares from other companies that were ordered last December, and they still haven't received windows and doors yet, like windows, patio doors.
A full year, like honestly, like a whole year.
I don't want to say the company names, but I mean, like, but it's
Say it. All right, now I know who you're talking about.
But I mean, I know it's difficult with the glass because a lot of that's going to be custom cut, right? Every window's a different size, even if they're standard.
I know, but this is not an industry that just got started yesterday.
I agree with you. And that was my question. Do you think that's a case? Like, I don't want to talk ill about anybody because every industry is different. Every business is different. But do you think that's them not being prepared for what's going on after what we went through last year?
The problem that I hear about, again, everything I hear is, it's like anything. It's off sources. If I ever got the chance to speak to the owner of the window industry, like, great, but I don't have that luxury, so it's all hearsay.
There's a person that's,
I would imagine, I mean,
like, there's a top window dog, like,
I mean, Cardinal Glass is the largest supplier of glass
for
in
North America. Or so who handles glass?
And Canada's only 3% of their business, so that's why we got
Canada's 3% of Cardinal's business.
That's what I was told.
Regardless, it's a single digit percentage.
Yes.
So what I was told is a single digit.
So we're such a tiny fish.
Entire country.
So if you heard of that company, Anderson?
Yeah, of course.
Anderson by Renewal, whatever it is. So Anderson by Renewal in the United States purchases, just that one company, they purchase more glass than all of Canada combined. So again, what I've been told by different window manufacturers, like the owners of the companies, we've had discussions with salespeople that are at the upper echelon of their field. So they have information that I have no reason not to trust what they say. And it seems to be the same story, is that Cardinal produces, they just want to look after their United States customers. And Canada is literally less than 5% of their total volume of sales. So Canada is an afterthought to them. You know what I mean? So
it goes back to the conversation that Alex, you and I were having before the mics rolled about the whole Canadian, how we basically just threw away all of our resources, all our manufacturing, and just like political.
And there's another Canadian
deals.
company that manufactures glass. I believe it's PGE or P&E. Forgot the actual name, but I was told that Cardinal has recently bought them out. So the United States company has bought out another Canadian
manufacturing glass company. And did they keep the facilities here?
I don't know those details, but it's hard to find that information out.
So why can't we just scrap everything and just start from scratch, and it's just going to be ridiculously expensive?
I have asked a couple of larger companies that do windows and glass and asked them, what would it take? There's clearly a need. Mm-hmm. There's clearly a demand. So find the demand, make the supply. A business does well. That's supply and demand. Yes. So what would it take for us to put together and make a glass foundry? That's what I don't know.
See, I don't know either, but I think it comes down to a lot of red tape. It's like you said, like we were saying earlier, it's like we've shipped all of our manufacturing out in an effort to go more green.
Like you were saying about the trim, about like how it's
South American pine
shipped to Asia.
Yep.
Milled, manufactured, primed, shipped
here.
back here, and that's cheaper than actually doing all the steps here in Canada. Yeah. So what does that go to? That goes to, I guess, the labor force. That goes to our incentives.
Yep.
So government isn't actually assisting any businesses. It's not attractive enough for businesses to set up shop here.
No, can you blame them? Anytime you want to set up, it's like, oh yeah, you got to pay your gas tax, your emissions, this, that, and
the carbon, all that crap. Yeah.
And depending on the business and depending on where you are, some municipalities will say they'll waive all these fees. They'll actually give them cuts in their taxes. Hey, you want to set up and build your widgets here? Yeah. All right. Well, we're going to say not charge you the full %. We'll charge you, or we'll even give you prorated, or what do they call it? Not discounted, but
tax credit or something.
Tax credit. Yeah, rebates. They'll give you rebates.
Funny enough, I'm sure you listen to the news. I laugh every time I hear somebody say, like on the news, say, "Oh, more jobs have been created in Canada. We're at an all-time high for jobs.
Where?
Jobless rates at an all-time high." That's what I say. I go, I don't know anybody who's not looking for an employee for anything.
Yeah.
Everybody's looking for people to work, and nobody wants to work. So how are we at an all-time low jobless rate?
I'm just concerned about the construction industry, trying to figure out at what point do we say that we're not profitable now. You can only push prices of supplies to a certain point that it's not profitable for us to do this now.
Yeah.
That's the concern that I have.
I can tell you honestly, it's been close for a while.
There's
There's
gotta
items
be
where,
like,
where
yeah.
people look at us and go, "Oh, you must make a killing on selling this caulking." And no,
You're making.
we're lucky
You're
to
probably
make
making pennies, right?
pennies
You're,
on the
you're
pennies.
not. You're not
it's
making
less than $1 on most.
Yeah.
Items, right, and it's just so.
So you guys have
Like I
seen
said-
it over 4 decades. You've seen, like, you've gone through recessions, 2 of them. You're going through this now.
This one's gonna hit hard.
Yeah, it has
I
to.
mean, not that I know anything. I've never experienced it. But my father tells me, he goes, when we hit, it's going to be like hitting a wall. He goes, we're going to go from full tilt to dead stop. Is his prediction.
Wow.
Because all the people that are buying from you are going to pull the brakes. That's it. They're going to go, we can't spend that money on this job. We can't do that job now.
Yeah.
Well, it's like you're saying. You. I was asking like how you sell. Like when I come down, I'll buy volume because I'm only coming down so often. But if I lived in the city, I mean, yeah, I'd be like visiting you like every other day, like getting a bit of this, bit of that, bit of this to that, and
Like
then
I
as
said
work
last
starts
time,
to
there's
dry up.
people that pass by every day, right?
Yeah.
They're like, oh, do you have this, this, and this? Yeah, of course. Sure. Do you want me to load you up? No, it's okay. I'll see you tomorrow. That's for tomorrow's job. Okay.
But
I'll
then
need
just,
like
I'm
I'll
not
need like 5
complaining
sticks
about
of
it.
sure,
trim.
come
I'll
by,
need,
say
like,
hello again.
Yeah.
instead
I
of
don't
me
mind at
buying
all.
like a case of foam, a case of caulking, I'll, oh, I need like 4 tubes of this color, 4 tubes
Alex,
of that
how
color.
fast are you going through the shims? I know last time we talked, you like had skids and skids and skids of shims,
Still
but
have
then
skids and skids and skids.
but it goes fast.
Our last order, 9 skids, lasted us about a month.
Really?
260-ish packs on a skid.
I mean, I bought one
One skid?
but I mean, like that's
How fast do you go through that?
that's for the year.
Oh, that's for the whole year. It makes more sense for you to do that,
Yeah.
store it somewhere, keep
Yeah.
it.
I have the facilities to store things like that, so I don't mind buying in bulk.
And a lot of people don't.
Yeah.
Especially if they live in the city. A lot of them are renting condos or apartments.
Yeah.
So they're parking
They
their
don't have a
trailers off
garage.
site.
Yeah.
They're parking their cube vans off site, whatever they have. And if they're lucky, they rent a storage unit.
What other materials like in the shop there that are, is it all across the board? Everything's pretty much getting attacked?
It's pretty much across the board. It's a lot of it shipping delays. Like we've been pretty lucky with a lot of our casing and our caulking,
Yeah.
but aluminum, we've never got so many calls for, oh, do you have black aluminum? Do you have this? Do you have that? We got a lot last year, but last year everybody was having issues. For this year, we started in November, December ordering container lots, which we've never done before. So we prepared like,
I know, but you had
These
increases on the containers now. So, like, where's your profit margin on that? Like, running a business, I'm sure when your dad started, your granddad started, the profit was different then. They were looking at it going, here's the classic retail model of how you're supposed to run a business. That doesn't exist today.
no, I remember my father telling me that late 80s, early 90s, there were some products, specifically, let's say a roll of aluminum, that he was selling for the same price then as he was in like 2005, 2006.
Wow.
So it went down, it came up, but the price was the same.
Yeah.
So you can imagine how our profits went from, this to this.
But I know
was
you
gonna say
guys
it was
did.
this, it
You
was
guys did
still
a
this.
modest increase on aluminum a little while ago.
Well, modest. You got to think that
Compared, and when I say
let's
modest,
say last year alone, I'm going to say 2021, I think the retail price on aluminum, I saw somewhere, someone actually charted it, was about 80 points, 80 to 90 points in
Well,
1 year.
That's insane.
well, I mean,
But where's it coming from?
You got to go all the way back to recycling, to the foundries, and we don't do any of that here. The aluminum we sell, most of it's recycled. We don't do any aluminum recycling here, from my understanding. You can buy virgin metal.
No, but it's not worth it.
No.
You're not making any. Nobody's going to buy it.
No,
That's
not
just
the
the bottom
prices
line.
you got to sell.
Nobody
it
will
for.
buy it.
and sometimes it's cheaper to process it raw from the ground than it is to
recycle?
recycle it.
Is it really?
Oh yeah,
Depending on the
100%.
product,
That's
I'm
why
sure.
recycling is a hard sell, because it costs more, it takes more to recycle a lot of product to turn it into something else, like paper. Again, my information going with what I've seen, documentaries, things I've heard, but it's cheaper just to go and strip a forest, get your paper from the trees, than it is to recycle paper and turn it back into paper.
That reminds me, I was actually walking through Lee Valley, and everybody that's been to
Yeah.
Lee Valley you can't walk out of there without buying something, right? So
No,
one
it's
of
a
the
dangerous start.
one of
It's
the
tough.
many things that I bought was an actual notepad made from wood paper. So it was
Yeah.
actually little thin sheets of wood paper, and I
I
had
know.
yet to use it because I just
It's so pretty and nice. You
Yes,
don't want to
yeah,
touch
yes.
it. Yeah, I know those problems. I got lots of notebooks like that. I don't want to spoil it.
All right, we got to take. Let me do a little history with you guys, but I totally forgot. And you know what? We should actually plan to do this, right? Give a little shout out to Andrew Lusso Designs there.
Yes,
and have yourself, have Joe, have Andrew there, and maybe have a little window and door show here, and then put up the ring and just let you guys duke it out.
Oh, can I watch?
That would be
Can I come in and
interesting.
watch?
You can watch the show. That'll be interesting to watch, right?
But I
But
know Andrew's moved into Windows now. I gave him the contact to Panes
oh, nice.
because he's
Expanding.
diversifying.
Good for him.
So-
All right, so a little shout out to Andrew there. History, guys. I want to ask you, gentlemen, which country has the safest construction industry? It ain't us.
Germany?
Close.
That's what I was gonna say. Somewhere
Close. Poland.
Poland?
Proudly lowest incident rate of 4%. The biggest construction company in Poland mentions on its website that Poland became one of the countries with the lowest rate of most serious accidents, 5.18% at construction sites. What is the healthiest building material? There are 10.
the healthiest.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd hope it's aluminum. You know, it's our industry, but
No, aluminum's
I
not
didn't
there.
think so.
No, it's not there. Non-toxic paint, clear paint,
that'd be like
zero
latex?
VOC.
Oh, material. Okay.
Materials, yeah. So plants. I don't even understand how plant. I guess hardscaping, landscaping, insulation, indoor air quality monitors, acoustical panels, daylight is on this list. Glass is on this list. Shock pad. Shock pad's like a cushy, rolly material. Stainless steel and reclaimed wood. These are the healthiest materials. What is the best country to become an engineer?
Germany.
it wouldn't be
Canada.
I was about to say it wouldn't
Canada.
be
And it's actually kind of fitting because I think we're over-engineered here. I think we have way too much going on with engineering. We've got way too many inspectors asking for engineers. So Canada, India is second. China's third, France, then New Zealand, and United States is at number 6.
I know that we spoke about that before with the engineering is they engineer the liability out of it. If it's got to be rated for
Well, that's why they over-engineer.
like if it's got to be rated for 10,000 pounds, we're going to design that for 100,000 or whatever, just so there's no risk of failure.
Speaking of inspectors, I forgot. I was thinking about you. It was probably a couple months ago. I was driving to my fiance's place.
I got nothing bad to say about them.
No, hang on. It was a Saturday afternoon. I had to do a double take
Why?
because I'm driving past a condo building that's going up near her place.
Okay.
I saw a blue hat walking off site. It was like 2:30 in the afternoon on a Saturday.
That's Ministry of Labor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I got to take a picture, but by the time I did the double take, it was like way behind me. I was like, holy smokes, on a Saturday, I got to tell Manny about this.
I don't know. Why do they wear the blue hats?
I've done that. I have
couldn't tell
actually, I have half a dozen hard hats, different colors. And if I'm ever just,
Carlito's done that as a joke.
if I'm just in
And
the
I'm like,
mood,
you-
I'll pull up the sights, put the hat on,
you do not
walk out with a
You do
clipboard.
not joke about that.
And I
man.
walk
I
out and
joke
stand
about
there
that, but I could see Carlito getting away with it because he kind of knows the code. Probably better than some inspectors.
He
I
kinda
heard your stories.
He kind of knows TV code. No, I like. It's almost like you're in a western, and all of a sudden you know who's the bad guy or the good guy or whatever, just by wearing that blue, that dark blue.
Yeah.
I wonder if are we the only country that does that?
Couldn't tell you.
That our safety reps or inspectors wear a specific colored hard hat to identify to everybody that we're coming.
Well, the old joke was that, you always know who the site super is because he's walking around in a white hat and he's clean.
Yeah, exactly.
And
Spotless.
and that's what I started doing. I bought one of them hard hats that has the brim around the whole thing.
The minor ones, yeah.
Just because from sun, from rain, just I thought it looked kind of nice. And I put that on and I showed up to the one site the one day. We're doing all these windows it's a residential. But again, I showed up there and I was in relatively clean, my new, like just pants, new clothes for that day. They're work gear, but I mean, I was clean. And I walked out, had the hat on, and everyone's staring.
Undercover.
Oh yeah, they all literally thought I was literally
undercover contractor.
They thought I was like a narc kind of thing. It wasn't until the end of that week people started talking, and it's like telling me about the hat I was wearing, and I'm like, you guys need to get a life, like
21 Jump Street, eh? Like 21 Contractor Street. Yeah, it's like there's undercover contractor.
Hello, fellow working men. How are you today? Just like me, a regular guy, right?
Yeah, how's it going? What's your name?
Shall we go get a cup of, what's it called? Coffee. Yes.
Get the cop off of me, man. Just get him out of here.
From what I'm told, a lot of them can't be bothered to work when they're on the clock. I can't see them doing undercover work.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. What are they going to be parked in? I don't know, man. That's a whole other world.
Beat up Civic.
That could be a Funny or Die video,
their
man.
buddies 86 Ford F-150.
They'll be in a brand new Lightning. That's what they'll be in. You know what? Let's just, for shits and giggles, let's play politicians, man. What if we were actually to change the whole manufacturing game here? How would we go about doing that?
We'd probably have to. They would probably have to loosen some of these green requirements and lower the carbon taxes.
No, see, I got a problem with green incentives because they're not necessarily. Okay, can we follow green from the conception to the actual delivery to a client?
The problem with green is like, I love how much you love. I know how much you love electric
EVs,
cars.
yeah.
EVs. Everybody talks about how green they are, but
They're
power's
not.
got to come from somewhere. You got to strip mine the lithium and any other minerals and metals and whatever's got to go into it.
They never factor that into the actual manufacturing of that product.
No, but if you were to go buy a 2x4, they're going to break down from the minute that seed's planted
Yeah.
to the tree grows. But why, when it comes to an EV, we're not doing the same thing?
Because if you actually gave up that information, you'd realize that it's not very green.
Yeah.
But that's how it is, right? I've had clients before that tell me, well, we want to make the house very green. We want to reno this very green. And I just tell them, I go, don't do it. That's the greenest thing you can do.
Plant trees, walk away.
Don't do it. Because you're going to have the manufacturing, the delivering, the trucks, all the stuff, the cutting, everything. That's all contributing to a green waste.
I just watched, what's his name, that politician, Pierre Poilievre.
Yeah.
And he was and he opened his statement, I think they were in the legislature, and he said about fried green tomatoes. Just talking
I think
about,
I saw that, yeah.
Basically saying that the local farmer who grows his specific breed of tomato on site there, but because of the increased carbon tax, this and that, it's now affecting him in a way because he's a local operator. He's got to sell it, whatever the price was. Now for him to even turn a profit and live and sustain his farm is like $5 per unit versus the tomatoes you would purchase, say, from South America, from wherever, Peru, wherever, and it's got to be shipped. Now, none of them follow our carbon footprint regulations, so they're sending up product that's going to have to be farmed down there, shipped up here, sent up here, all through. The amount of fossil fuel needed to get those South American products
Into
to
your
here
bag. Yeah, I know.
increases our carbon footprint
And they probably
tenfold.
lose less produce to
And it's
insects
like- and it-
because
and it's
they're
like-
allowed to
and
use
it's-
proper fertilizer.
Yeah.
and
It's like
they're allowed to use
80% the cost. It's
pesticides.
like say $2 a unit, which puts our guy out of business. And that's when he was just stating that we need to do more local. So the carbon taxes, things like that, they need to be fairly allocated to people coming up here. As soon as they cross the border, those companies, those trucks are now going to be taxed on the appropriate carbon use they use. Where the local guys who are making it, you can grow it in their farm. You can drive down there, whatever, pick it up, and that's going to be less. It doesn't have to be more. I know.
So how do we do that here in Canada, though? How do we make you guys, you suppliers, like this product was grown, manufactured, processed, put here, and then shipped to you? It didn't need to leave on a boat or a transporter.
We're literally remaking the entire system, right? Because all these manufacturers are everywhere.
The country's large enough, but
kind of kicked it all
you
out.
can't do the entire system. Can you do the?
No, well, this is it. It's
Sure, why
cost.
couldn't you?
It's cost.
We have the land. I think I heard somewhere the government of Canada owns like 90% of the available land in Canada. It's only 10 to 11% that we have the opportunity
technically
to
the crown.
Crown
technically
land,
the crown, yes.
Because we're part of the Commonwealth.
They stopped
Yes.
selling that out in like the 70s. around land.
I'm just trying to figure out how we can do that. So then all of a sudden the end user, which is the contractor, the tradesperson, can start making the profit that they were, I guess, planning or projecting in their business. Or this is not doable.
I don't know. With our labor laws here, I think it'll be very difficult. It'll be really expensive.
Well, it's like even little things like where we are up in Collingwood, Thornbury, Blue Mountains, you cannot get locals to harvest apples, all the different produce that is produced up there. I mean, so Thornbury is renowned for its apple production.
Okay.
Or if you have guys...
So what do you mean? Nobody wants to do that job?
No, they bring...
What, because the labor, like they're not paying for that job properly?
Even
or?
if they pay, I've heard about what they pay, 18, 20 bucks. If they found a local kid to come and do it,
they won't do it.
No, they bring up migrants from Mexico, South America,
for a season,
from Jamaica, and they have built bunkhouses. They have it's literally bringing up teams of men from other countries
because they're cheaper, or they want to do it.
They're the only ones that'll do it. The locals
won't do it.
Nope.
Wow.
To pick the apples, to tend to the crops, to tend to any of the large production scale things. That's been going up there for years. And of course, the businesses get tax credits, rebates, get incentives to bring people up here.
Well, yeah, because they need people to work.
And the brutal part is you want to see how racist the small communities are. Most people are accepting, but there's still those out there that when they see migrants from other countries,
they're stealing.
They have an opinion.
Oh, the opinions
really
they're stealing our jobs
in 2022.
It's the little words. Really? It's the little digs. It's the degradation of words that some kind pop in. Those people.
I'm glad that I'm culturally blind, man. I'll hate you if you do something bad to me. I won't hate you because of who you are or color or whatever, right?
I'll hate you if you're a jerk. I don't care about anything else.
That's it. I go old school hate.
Yeah.
That's it.
Skin color doesn't affect you being an idiot.
Exactly.
Well, are you having the same problem with employees, or nobody wants to get into the game?
Okay, so luckily we found one. My brother came back.
How? Where? Okay,
one of the job boards, Indeed, ZipRecruiter, one of those.
Okay.
My brother put up an ad for us, and we probably had, I think he said it was a ridiculous number of replies. 50, 100 people emailed. So my brother starts responding to all these people.
That's a good amount.
Yeah.
My brother starts responding to all these people, saying, hey, do you want to come in for an interview?
If I may ask, when was the
ad?
Out of
50, one person?
One person replied to my brother's reply.
When was the ad posted? What part of the month? Towards the end of the month?
I don't remember.
Okay. I'll tell you why after.
Why?
June, July.
I'll tell you why after.
No, because to stay on a lot of these government programs,
there it is.
EI,
there it is.
You just need to show that you're attempting to look for work.
I've heard of this crap, man.
Your job is not to get a job. Your job is to actively look for a job. So every 2 weeks, you got to report in, and you have to show them that, hey, here's what I found.
I got no replies. Sorry.
I found all this. You know what I mean? I've had guys. I've told people, you show up and work. I've set jobs. I've stopped doing those because it's basically a scam. Because of it, it's all they need to do is show they're looking for a job. They don't have to get a job. But if they're, I couldn't find anything. I've tried.
I've never applied for EI, so I don't. What percentage of EI is it the same as the CERB crap that was going on? Is that how much money that they would be getting?
I don't honestly, I couldn't tell you. I don't even know if I can because I work for my father. So
yeah. But is it half of what a normal wage would be?
I think it's based on your previous earnings.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah. So you need to work. So in order to collect EI.
You have to pay into it, first of all.
Well, you need to pay into it, and you need to pay into it for a certain amount of time. Over a certain amount, and once you've paid into it for a certain amount, it's if I recall, I've never been on it, but if you've paid into it for a certain amount of time, and then you get laid off, so seasonal workers, right, the guys, landscapers, things like that, and then over the winter time, they'll get it. They get their allotted amount based on how much they've earned. You need to work a certain amount. You've worked, say, so many days. I think there's on an average year, there's 230 odd working days, and you've worked, say, I don't know, 150 of them, 100,
Yeah.
whatever it is. You've worked so much, and then you're now allowed to get paid. But again, you're paid a percentage of what your total pay was.
So correct me if I'm wrong, but I mean, if anybody's going to fact check me, you can email Manny. I don't want to hear it.
Sure, send it to me.
But I think
Junk.
The three of us at this table, because we're technically self-employed, I know myself not
We're not allowed.
directly, but we're not allowed,
Yeah.
but we still have to pay into it.
Yeah. As an employee of your business,
Yeah.
you still have to pay into it the same way you pay into pension, CPP, right? So you're still contributing to it, but then you're getting these 50 kids that are applying for a job and one's applying
That's
or
interesting.
responding.
As a sole proprietor, I don't think you can. But let's say I'm incorporated.
No, sole proprietor you can. If you're incorporated,
But if I'm incorporated, I'm now an employee of my business.
and the employee can, but the employee still has to pay into it.
Yeah.
But how do I? Yeah.
So you have to. So if
It
you're
all
an employee, you
depends.
start as that.
I think it depends on how you're set up in your business
Yeah.
structure.
Yeah.
Right. Because as an employee, I can be an owner of my business, so I would get paid a certain amount. I'd collect my check, but then any profits, proceeds from the business, how that gets allocated back to the board members of the corporation, whether through dividends, bonuses, stocks, things like that, or the money gets pumped back around and gets allocated into other assets. Yeah.
I wonder if there's a country out there that doesn't have a problem getting people into construction.
That'd be a good question. It would probably, I mean, I see the benefits of, let's say, an unemployment type program, but I remember hearing, when my grandfather came over, however many years ago that was.
6 years.
No, that would have been the 60s, 70s, right?
60s, 70s,
60s,
50s.
70s, 80s, even into the 90s,
He was told, he got here, you get here today, tomorrow you go to work,
Yeah,
or you're getting
you'll-
back on a boat and you're going
Yeah,
home.
that's exactly it.
So I don't understand why we can't have some kind of program to say, okay, here's a job, you go tomorrow. If you don't show up to work, we're cutting.
Well, people might feel triggered.
And I'm not saying everybody needs to do that. And like I said, I can see
I believe everybody
where
needs
it
to
could
do
help
that.
people,
I think everybody should be
these
doing
programs,
that.
but I think everybody should have to work.
Are
and
there not
contribute.
incentives? Like, I mean, I was a little
You're asking
surprised
the
to hear
wrong
from
person.
Ava's when the electrician Mike was talking. I think it was also the two Mikes.
Yeah.
They were talking
They
about the
paid
incentive.
for it all.
Well, no, they paid for all of it. Yeah, and they basically
Even the
got
plumbing.
the grants and everything. But it was
Like,
actually
whoa.
doubled for females.
Yeah,
So the females were receiving twice as much than the males were receiving for incentives to get into the trade,
just to get women into the trades, and
which is
getting-
great.
I don't think it's a bad thing at all.
Yeah.
I mean, so much for equality, but I don't think it's a bad thing either. We
But
need to
there should be
incentivize.
more incentives
I
from
agree.
the government to get into construction.
I agree with that completely.
But who's doing that? Nobody's doing that.
No.
Yeah. I'd have to look. I don't know who else. I mean, in some countries, it's, you hear Jordan Peterson talk about the inequality of men versus women, and
Yeah, that's a whole other.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's
it's
a whole other-
it's interesting to hear. Why aren't there women bricklayers, things like that, and I
Brick chick. There's a few. There's
Yeah, yeah.
more than a
Few of
few.
And I mean,
Yeah.
and I love seeing it's not. I don't even. To me, it's not even a matter of male, female in the industry. We just need people in the
passionate
industry.
people that want to be in the industry.
Yeah.
Period. That's all
Yeah,
it is.
I'm seeing more and more females coming into like roofing and into trades
But
that
I
are
think
generally
regarding the
male-dominated.
incentives, we might
It's
also be a
incredible.
little ignorant on that because there might be a bunch of stuff that we don't even know. And it's not
correct.
until you dive into your business that you start realizing that you start speaking to an experienced tax person or an accountant. They start
Yeah.
telling you all the benefits that you can get for your business because of the way you've set it up. So I bet you there are a bunch of incentives that we really don't know or they haven't made them clear for us to understand them so we can use them.
Yeah.
But I mean, who wants to read all of that jargon online to
Or-
go through that stuff
Or hire someone
to do it?
to do that and say, hey, this is a potential for you. It's like, okay, so I'm paying you to tell me where the potential is, but then I still have to do, let's say there's companies, you can get a ton of money in grants and rebates for R&D.
Yeah.
I mean, we've been in business 40 years, didn't know anything about it till we had someone show up for one machine and goes, well, you're past the date now because you bought it however long ago and you designed it however long ago.
But R&D should go with
but
the
it-
times, man.
Yeah.
What did my father know at the time? He just needed a machine to do a product.
I
So
know.
okay,
But now you need to
Do it.
upgrade that machine. You need to evolve. You
Yeah.
need to- so then that's another grant. You start applying for that, and then you
Yeah.
start
And
contributing.
there's companies that just do that on a rotating basis every few years. Okay,
they
R&D,
know
we're
it.
upgrading because they know. And it's like, well, now that we know, hopefully we can make it work for us and help us out a little bit.
I know that there's Paolo from Marble from our event. He was actually telling me that there's a bunch of grant applications that you can fill out for any new products that you develop that are developed here in Canada. The government will actually pay you to further develop that product. But you got to keep a whole paper trail of all the expenses that you're putting
Everything.
towards this, right?
Yeah.
And then you can actually offset a bunch of the costs of your great idea to produce something.
But what I like about what you guys are doing too is you're not just focused on one. Like you're diversified as hell. I mean,
Somewhat.
you're getting into like all your products that you're carrying for like aluminum.
Yeah, we've
You're
got some
carrying
tools
trim.
now.
I mean, the tools you
Still
guys are
haven't been
bringing.
able to
and
sell
it's-
you any tools, by the way.
but
We're
it's-
going to have to change your color.
But it's the consumables, right? It's the knife.
Who's
blade.
buying? Like I don't know. I'm seeing guys selling tools. Like I'm seeing tradespeople selling tools on either IG or
A
Kijiji.
lot.
They're downsizing their tools, and for good reason. I predicted that years ago, man.
Yeah.
I said I think everybody's just been getting greedy, and we're guilty of this. You walk into a
Oh,
store, I want to buy, but then all of a sudden you start realizing it's a few
I don't need
$1,000s.
this.
You don't need it.
Uh,
So now you want to sell it for half the price to somebody else that may want it. So
But these guys are smart because they're selling a lot of the consumables. So
Well, that's what
not
you
the drills,
need.
but
You
like the
need
drill
that.
bits, the
Yeah.
oscillating saw blades, the knife blades.
correct me if I'm wrong, Jay. Isn't it kind of nice to hold a drill that? I mean, once in a while, I'll grab my NiCad Bosch. You know what I mean? Because I
Sorry.
still have it.
I'm sorry to hear that. Go on.
But it's nice to know that I have a tool here that's been around for 15
Oh, yeah.
years or whatever, and I'm still using it.
But it's funny. I go through my tools every now and then. I'll down in the basement, just moving, cleaning, whatever.
hanging pictures.
Yeah, because he's a DeWalt guy. That's
right.
He's a DeWalt guy.
Oh, it broke.
Oh, I'm sorry. DeWalt. He's a DeWalt
But
guy.
I'll find tools that were my dad's. Now he wasn't a contractor. Or anything
Are they
like
still
that.
in the case, or are they still in the box? or
Well,
they-
just like planes and just like tools that like, you know, when we were younger, you look at tools. Remember the blow torches with the actual tank on the bottom? You would fill it with like naphtha fuel or something, and it,
Yeah.
you know, things like that. And just like
they
I
work
mean,
forever?
But even like my,
still work?
even like an old like Stanley or Black and Decker, like the tools that were like all like big silver, heavy cased aluminum housings, things like that. And you think about how long something lasts.
Electric, no battery.
Yeah. Oh yeah, but it's just like even like the old drills and that smell from the burning of the windings if you overwork it. And you look at the tools now, and I just think like some of the tools, like, you know, like all the plastic stuff. I'll destroy a drill in a year. Things only have a lifespan if you use it.
you
every
already
day.
have predictions of knowing that you buy something,
It's
that
gonna-
tool is
yeah.
outlive itself.
Yeah.
Within a year.
Yeah.
That's not right.
I mean, but who cares? I mean,
If you switch to red, it might last longer.
All right, hang on.
We've got both lines.
Are
of
you?
red.
Oh, really? So you got Hilti and Milwaukee.
Yeah. Well, Hilti, we've got to order. We don't stock. We've never really stocked.
How
it.
does that whole
So-
relationship? I was actually funny as I was driving around the Mississauga area there behind the new Amazon. That whole facility is weird just to enter
Yeah.
there, and I hate their speed bumps. By the way, like
I
it's
can tell you, I don't think I've ever been there. I went there
Well,
once when they did the grand opening of that
just
facility.
down the street is the Hilti. I saw a brand new Hilti tower or tower building warehouse, whatever.
It's a pretty wicked warehouse.
That's
I went-
Hilti
I
heaven.
went to the
I
grand
guess.
opening there.
Is that
It
yeah?
was
It's
pretty
really
cool.
Yeah.
Their order flows pretty slick.
So how does it work for you guys? You can be an authorized dealer because Hilti's particular about who.
Technically, we're not an authorized distributor of Hilti products, but because we purchase so much of their foam specifically for the window and door guys,
They let you play ball.
they let us play ball. I mean, the discounts
They're
that,
best
say on
friends
the
with their
tools
best friends.
aren't fantastic compared to, but it's the same with any tool brand. Let's say, like, you know,
Oh, there's some
on-
tool brands that will let anybody play ball.
That's true. Well, there's a lot of them. They won't even respond to emails. That's
Really?
how we ended up with Milwaukee. Honestly, I can say I had reached out a few times over the years to different companies. TTI is the only one that eventually did get back.
Really?
Well, the first one. DeWalt in the U.S. responded to me right away. They're like, here's what you need to do.
I was
Here's what
gonna
you
say
need to know.
something, but then
And then And then he goes, "Oh, you're in Canada? No, I can't help you. I'll forward this to one of our Canadian reps who never responded."
Radio silent.
Radio silent.
I would love to
I don't blame them. We're a small shop.
I'd love
for
to
the
get
grand scheme of
Hilty
things
on this show.
We're not a.
I really would love to get Hilty on this show. 'Cause I got a lot of respect for Hilty's products.
Yeah.
I do. And how they position themselves.
Good tools. A lot of my personal tools are healthy.
They're great tools. Yeah, but
My heavy demolition.
You're getting them at
my
a discount,
My
man.
heavy demolition stuff is healthy.
Well, I'll be honest. Those ones there, it was they used to do promos before all this COVID crap.
Oh, okay, all right.
Buy X amount of dollars, we'll give you a tool bag with a couple of drills in that. And that's how I ended up with most of my personal tools. So,
But I mean, if you were to outfit yourself with a whole Hilty line and compare it to like a DeWalt line, you're twice the price, no?
probably more.
Even more, huh?
Even more. But at the same time, it's...
The quality's there.
But the
I'm not
quality is
denying
there.
that.
But
I'm not denying
for
that.
for the general tools, your saws, your drills, your grinders.
But what about the general
lot
guys
of
like
it they don't
yourself
have.
that
For
you're
me,
buying
Hil-
something that's going to get toasted after a year and you're like, okay, so it failed, done, bye. I'm going to go get another one.
But it's not about it failing. I mean, a reciprocating saw lasts me a year. Like, I've made my money back off.
Reciprocating saw lasts you a year?
But I mean,
What fails on it?
So on the DeWalt tools that I use, it's typically on the older shaft where you clip the blade into it.
Okay.
That little quick clip is then attached to a tube, which goes in, and that's, you don't see it. It's inside the tool, but that tube breaks. I've only had 2 of them break.
It just cracks.
It just cracks and it comes out. But I mean, like,
And it's not worth repairing.
I take out like hundreds of windows and cut countless 2x6s, 4s. I mean, we put that thing, we drop it. It gets so hot sometimes you can't touch it. I mean, I get one job out of it. It's made its money. Same thing with the hammer. But I'm saying,
I know, but a cordless reciprocating
But
saw
again, on a
is what?
professional-
A good one is like $400, $300. No?
like 100.
100 for a DeWalt?
Or they're like just, the regular ones are like 100 when I get them.
Oh, I
when
know.
I get them, I get them for like 100, 130 bucks.
After a job.
That's great. So I'll buy like 6.
Wow, paper mache line, eh?
Oh yeah, they have a subcompact one, and I've yet to break that. Like the impact guns.
Okay.
Like I'll get a couple years out of that, but we're hammering on them. Like that's the one thing
Wasn't it recently where everybody was just stroking each other's ego on the impact guns, talking about the shortest? I've got the shortest. I've got the short. No,
The
you got the
shortest
short. I've got
drive
the
time,
shortest.
this,
Is it really
you watch
worth
guys.
it?
You watch guys see how fast they can drive them in, and it's like, well, that's great, but nobody's working that hard. I can have a gun that takes longer to drive it in, but if you have a gun that's driving it in faster, but you have, I don't know, irritable bowel syndrome, you're going to spend an extra 2 hours a day on the can, and I'm still going to be faster because my tool's slower, but I've got a perfectly healthy gut flora. So too bad for you.
I would put the longest or like Robinson bit on the shortest impact
A
gun.
lot of people do that.
And I would
We sell
just
6-inch
I would
driver
just
bits.
do it just to annoy the hell out of everybody.
All day.
that's
The
all.
6-inch driver bits go all day, and then you see them pull the impact out.
And I never understood it. I think it's Mississauga Hardware sells the 12-inch Robbie bits, eh?
Oh, yeah.
And they're all
That's interesting.
color-coded,
Yeah.
and it's red.
I just used the 4.5.
And I keep on asking them, why isn't the 12-inch one not black?
It's too thin. It's only a 1/4 inch.
I don't
dry.
understand. But I think they got the 2-inch one right because it's yellow, right?
Yeah.
So all of a sudden I was
2
like,
inch.
okay, yeah,
Well, number 2 is
That
red.
went
right over his head.
Right over his head.
right over his head. Right over his head. You'll have to listen to the show again to figure that one out.
Damn it.
But I don't understand what the big deal is. Okay, so I'd never like tools. Okay, I can drill 100 screws in 5 seconds versus I can drill.
But for me, what it comes
Like
down to,
Hilty doesn't play that game.
Not really. They say this is our tool. This is our tool. and
That's what I have.
You want it,
and-
you buy it.
And you know what? Festool doesn't play that game either.
but it's
No.
industry specific, right?
varies.
Festool and Hilty don't make nailers.
no.
So what's the point? For me, it was
Hilti
about.
doesn't have a nailer.
But for
They
me,
came
it
out
was
with
a.
a jigsaw a couple years
I
ago.
thought I saw Hilty with a framing nailer.
But still, what's a framing nailer to a trim guy?
No, that would
No,
probably
it's-
be
That would have been somebody else
for the shots.
Oh, okay,
like-
yeah, for a gun, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not like a
Concrete
framing nailer.
shots, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But for me, it's battery platform. I remember back in the day.
So you think honestly DeWalt has the best battery platform
It doesn't
right
have,
now?
It doesn't have. It has the best for me because the myriad of tools that I need to do, I just want one style of battery that fits all my tools.
Everybody wants that.
But they finally came out with the laser levels that now take the 20-volt batteries. I was thrilled when they had the laser levels that came out with the 12-volt batteries, because whenever I went to use my laser and I had to stick in double A's, they're always dead. They're always dead. And I was like,
so annoying. I know.
frig, that's annoying. So when they came out with the 12-volt, great. Now they got the 20 volts. Great. I bought a few of those.
What I don't like about the Bosch laser and the battery is the 12 volt, the little mini one, the small one, that you can only put it on it. You can't put the higher amp 12 volt version
I see.
on it because of the way the base is thick or whatever, and it's annoying to me. I can't stand that. So
But for me, it was always about one battery for everything. And at the time, by the time Milwaukee caught up with their nailers, by the time everyone else has caught up with an 18 gauge, a 16 gauge of framing, by the time everyone's caught up, I'm already, immersed into one brand. So I'm going to completely just buy a whole new platform. I don't want to have
that you'll never do. I guarantee you.
No, but
unless you got to the point where you're completely frustrated.
Unless everything got stolen.
That's the other thing.
Or a hurricane came out and took everything out. And if that was the case, then the insurance pays it all out. And I'm like, well, don't need to work anymore. So
speaking of catching up, the carpenters, the woodworking guys will be excited. The Milwaukee finally announced the track saw. We don't have a date yet for release, but they finally announced the track saw officially this time.
I mean,
first it was Festool.
They're a little late to moon there, right?
Was it Festool in Milwaukee?
I'd agree with that.
Makita.
Everybody, listen, I've used the DeWalt track saw. It's good. I've used the Festool. It's good. Yeah. I have the Bosch one now. It's good. They're all good. There isn't a negative thing about anybody's track saw, but that's been years in the game already.
And the only reason I got the DeWalt track saw was because the battery platform. I've got plenty of 60 volts.
I have a corded and I still love it. I don't care. Yeah. It's part of the routine when you're setting up a track saw, and you just know that your instinctively hand has to do that little dance with the cord to get it over. That's all it is, right? I've gotten so used to it. But I mean, would I spend the extra money for a battery version of that same track saw? Maybe one day.
Like I had to buy one.
Depends how much you'd use it, I think. Everybody's different.
Yeah.
But if it's something you're using every day and you have to bring it to site,
exactly.
I'd say yes, a lot of people will go for it.
But I mean, I had the battery miter saw, and I went right back to the corded.
Yeah, I bought that battery saw, and it doesn't matter.
No, but your DeWalt one is smart because you can still plug it in.
No. I have the small 7 1/4.
Oh,
and that
you can't plug that in?
No, you can't plug it in. The problem with it is even with a brand new blade, and even putting a 12 amp hour,
no power.
It's got power, but even with the best blade I've found, there's still tear out.
Seriously?
Yeah, I suck so bad. I use it all the time because
they sold all those miter saws on the convenience.
If I'm rough cutting, if I'm MDF,
it's
who
still
cares?
a 7 1/4 or 7 1/2 blade.
7 1/4.
But it doesn't matter if it's a 10-inch or a 12-inch blade. Yes, if it's portable, it's convenient to have it on battery. But
here's the biggest.
I'm going to say 99 out of 100 times when you're bringing it to a site, there's going to be power.
I've never been anywhere where there isn't power.
That's what I mean. There's always going to be power
for a quick 1 or 2 cuts. But if personally, I don't know, but we can order you one if you want.
Like the job we're doing now.
No, hang on a sec. I got a question about the Milwaukee track saw coming out. Have they smartened up and made the arbor the exact same size as every other blade, or they've done the stupid thing that Festool, Bosch, DeWalt, all of them have, where they
made their own arbor?
Yeah.
To be honest,
you have to buy a specific blade for a track saw. The arbor is different.
I didn't know that.
Oh yeah. Because you'll buy a regular blade thinking I'll just got to slap that blade.
I know that's the case on the DeWalt. The DeWalt makes a little mini circular tile cutting, a wet tile cutting saw, and that is a metric arbor. So you can't just go and buy like a 4.5 inch.
Why is that? Because they brought that product from overseas and they're bringing it into the imperial world here?
I
really
think
don't
that
know.
was
I could look at that though.
I bet you
when I get back to the office, I'll take a look at it. They'd go with the Universal 3/8 arbor.
I'd make so many tradespeople happy. I'm telling you that right now.
I think it's 3/8, right?
I don't know. No, 5/8.
5/8, sorry.
But it's not on the track saw. It's not 5/8. It's metric. No. It's different.
Yeah.
OBC talk, guys. How much you guys know about dead loads and live loads?
one's dead, one's not.
I know what they are.
What is
I
the
know what they
difference
are,
between dead loads and live loads? Dead loads are static forces that are relatively constant for an extended period of time. They can be in tension or compression. The term can refer to a laboratory test method or to a normal usage of material or structure. Live loads are usually variable moving loads. So basically,
You have people over. What's the live load on my deck going to be?
Exactly.
Yeah.
The people moving. But it's interesting in this whole little spiel here. Live loads, right? So 3 examples of live loads. Live loads are also applied to imposed loads or variable actions. So may vary over time and often result from occupancy and structure. Typical live loads may include people, the action of the wind. I didn't know that the wind itself was considered a live load. Furniture is a live load. Vehicles. If you got a vehicle in your house, you got other problems than live loads.
Snow?
The weight, snow is eventually. Well, again, you're rushing me here, man. The weight of books in your house is a live load.
Oh yes, yeah, because they're coming on. And
Yeah.
One
pulling
thing
them off,
that
putting them
I
on
paid
shelves.
attention to during COVID for live loads is weight equipment, workout
Oh,
equipment.
100%.
Like, I mean, that stuff can weigh like.
Types of loads acting on a structure are dead loads, imposed loads, wind loads, snow loads, earthquake loads, special loads. I don't know what special loads are.
Show you later.
Is a roof special? Is a roof a dead or a live load?
Dead load.
It's a dead load. Dead loads are structural loads of constant magnitude over time. They include the self-weight of structural members such as walls, plasters, ceilings, floors, beams, columns, and roofs. Is snow dead or live?
That's a live load.
Live.
That's a live load, right? Ever-changing live loads like snow and ice are temporary weights on the structure. Dead loads are also the permanent parts of the building that add to the weight of the structure. Is water a live load?
Would be live. Standing water or rainwater?
Well, hang on. In your house, how many places do you have water? Bathtubs.
Got to be a dead load.
I'd assume live.
Is it
yeah.
live?
It's a live
I
load.
guess because you can vary how much you fill your bathtub.
Exactly, right? I remember I had
can flush.
to do 2
Yeah.
cast iron tubs, and we had to calculate the weight of the water, included the weight of the tub,
Yeah.
and that determined the structure because 16 on center joist will not suffice.
No.
Yeah.
I think I remember you talking about that.
Yeah,
on the show.
I think 90. I don't know. Don't quote me on it. I think 90 gallons of water in a tub is something like 900 pounds.
Oh my gosh! And then you add what your average
person.
150 to 200 pound person.
Yeah, that's a lot of load on those 16 centers, right?
And did you know
And that cast iron tub isn't light either.
No.
that the amount of water that you displace, if you took that water and weighed it, that's how much you weigh?
It's a lot of work. I could just step on a scale.
I just exactly. Live loads are the anticipated weight of furniture, merchandise, occupants, and the contents of pipes, even the water in the pipes and water heaters. Because we just assume that water heaters are always in the basement, but sometimes water heaters are not just in the basement, right?
Yeah.
And the forces exerted by wind, rain, snow, and earthquake.
Yeah, because you're not always running plumbing down.
Yeah, I guess.
Down like a beam. It's going through the floor joist. That's gonna add. You put like enough of those in.
Exactly.
Right through
Build
your
them up.
engineered beam.
Exactly. Cut right through it. We're talking to Alex and Jay, Universal Aluminum Products, universalaluminumproducts.ca, Alex at universalaluminumproducts.ca, and it's on Instagram at Universal Aluminum Products. What are you guys planning for next year, man, 2023? The year that the apocalypse is coming and everything's going to fucking change.
I think thankfully I've got my father who's got a ton of experience, so he's preparing us. From what he says, we'll just continue as status quo, so we'll probably order an absolute metric ton again
Just
of
keep
aluminum
on
just to
stocking
be
up, eh?
prepared.
Yeah.
As long as it doesn't get to
keep
the
those
point.
prices as stable as you can, right?
We're trying to protect ourselves too.
Yeah.
It's great when the price goes up to the market, like the retail price, let's say it goes up. So that ends up for any retailer, that's a good thing. The problem is when it comes back down and we're stuck with a lot of high price material.
Yes.
So when we got to drop our price, we could be losing money at the end of the day because we still got to go with the market price.
But I had full respect because when that went
However-
up, like when aluminum went up,
Yeah.
and you kept yours, and I think it was like $250 a roll, and we just needed a roll of aluminum in a pinch in a job we were doing.
How do you handle that?
We went out and got it. It was like $450 from everyone else, where they were still keeping it there.
We never went that high, but we honestly went with the market. It's not like we held our prices to be the cheapest guy. The last thing we want to do is be known as the cheap
undercut.
company out there, the undercutter. We're not. We're going to try to stay
Oh, but
with the market.
You're building
But
relationships.
we're protecting
too,
ourselves.
right? Yeah.
Is what we're doing. So, yes, when prices go up, they go up. It doesn't necessarily mean we're making more money, though. A lot of times we're making less. I'm sure if you talk to some other retailers, other guys you got on here, they'll tell you the same thing.
Yeah.
But what
Right.
you're trying to focus on is like just a cash flow, getting, even though things are going up, even if you're taking a bit of a hit, you still got to keep the income coming in.
Yes, but more importantly, it's making sure we have stock.
Yeah.
We learned that the hard way last year. Everybody learned it the hard way last year. Is you couldn't get product. You were sold out. All the popular material.
You're just so used
was
to
gone.
things coming and like, okay, well, we're out of pens. We'll order another 10,
Yeah.
and
Where
then-
we used to order from our supplier today, and we knew within 2 weeks, unless it was a special paint run, they'd have it delivered to us if we ordered out of their stock colors. Now it's, okay, you got to order 3 months in advance.
Yeah.
And we've
Listen.
never had to plan
Alex,
our inventory that far out.
Let me ask you this, because your dad's been in it for so long. Does he ever look at defeat, or does he see a rainbow at the end of this? Does he see that this is not going to turn around?
It always turns around. It always turns around. It's going to hurt for a while.
Okay.
You're going to get a lot of the people out there whose entire business model is to undercut.
And the only reason I bring it up is because I'm seeing a lot of faces of defeat as tradespeople because they're realizing their profit is not there.
Well, how many tradespeople have been around long enough? I know I haven't.
That's a good
If
point.
I started out on my own,
Yeah.
now I'd be thinking
yeah.
it's always going to go up. Everything's sunny. It's like my entire generation
Well, when
with,
people are
with
spending
the
$100
housing.
grand on trucks and vehicles, they're
Yeah. Well, with the housing market, since I've been old enough to remember, and you've had a lot of people of my age on this show,
Yeah.
we've only known the housing market go up, never
never
an
had
interest
a-
rate hike.
Yeah, never had the
Housing price
fallback.
drop.
I know,
So it's relative.
but they're all entrepreneurs. They're all business owners.
Mm-hmm.
They're all seeing a profit. If they're not working commercial, but if they're all doing resi custom and everything like that,
But now some guys are starting to hear those words that they're not used to hearing.
recession.
No.
Oh no. Okay.
Oh, well, we're looking at this job. Here's our price. Oh, no.
It's.
We're going to wait. We'll
I mean,
do it next year.
I know people have been saying it for probably close to 10 years, but it's got to happen eventually. It's only so much the system can hold before it breaks.
Yeah.
When
But
you
it's
think
like
about it.
it's like what they're saying with the cost of houses. Yes, houses have gone up, but then they're saying, oh, they've fallen back down, and it's
But
recessed.
they've fallen 20% after they went up 100.
I was going to
to
say they're still up versus what it was.
How did it work for you guys, Alex? Okay, so I guess there's two different recessions that happened during the course of those 40 years. So you would have had the nasty recession back in the late 80s, early 90s, right?
Yeah.
And then you'd had the blimp, I guess, that Canada didn't get affected as much back in 2008, 2009, right? Which would have been the U.S. housing crash.
Yeah. The other thing the government did there, or I think we spoke about it last time, was they implemented a rebate program.
Yeah, 100%. And it worked.
It worked to stabilize
And that
the
was
construction
Harper.
industry.
It worked, yeah.
It propped up businesses. We were busy, so we avoided the recession that way. Avoided, I'm going to call it. But how much money can you print?
Well, too much has already been printed to
Yeah.
begin with. So it's a question of, can you actually do that rebate again now? I don't think you can.
There is one now going on, but again, it's
For what?
for windows, doors.
But I don't
there
think
is
this
one
one's
on-
been very popular.
Well, the
especially
problem-
because
What's,
everybody's
what's the
done the
re-
work
The
already.
problem now is you're getting a rebate, but before you had to be a company that was registered with the program, and so basically the homeowner paid and the company got the rebate. Now, I'll come in, do the work, give you a receipt, but you, the homeowner, need to chase it and deal with it. It's not on me anymore. Where before,
Maybe that's why we're not hearing as
where
much about
before
this
it was
one.
an energy audit, because I get that question every now and then. What kind of
I
rebates
know, but
are
that
there
last
right now?
energy audit was such a nightmare too, regarding the paperwork and getting the
Oh my
actual
gosh,
rebate.
that one was
The
brutal.
government didn't make it easy.
It was worse than the Schluter warranty.
It was ridiculous. It was
But
stupid. the way
a
it was
good
done.
other
warranty
thing
program.
A lot of those do is they get a lot of the cash guys out of the business, or at least in
True.
trouble tax
Oh, yeah.
wise. Because
True.
how
But
do
it
you go,
also-
how do you go from making $30,000-$40,000 a year living in a 4,000 or 5,000 square foot house?
Yeah.
Wife stays home, doesn't work. till all of a sudden you're making 150 because everything's got to be legit.
Yeah, and that was the thing, and it
then
also
right
put
back.
guys like me at a disadvantage because you needed to be a member of.
Oh, that one. That was just a couple of years ago,
Yeah,
though.
you had to be a member
That wasn't
of
the same one as
SAWDAC.
in 08.
So how many of those did you come across? Were there a lot of those?
I probably got not outbid, but I just walked away because I tried to explain the program to people, and all most people see is they just come down to dollars. Like
Yeah, they
bottom
see
line.
$5,000 back.
Yeah, they see $5,000 back, but they don't understand they got to spend 15 extra on something that's not going to give them the rate of return. Like it's going to take 15 years to see the difference in the negligible difference between heating costs.
But that's a lot of things too, where you'll have people that, oh, I'm going to go to the other guy to buy this one product that you sell because if I buy X amount of cases, he gives me a free caulking gun or a free foam gun.
Well, like Hilti was like, buy 3 cases, get a free foam gun.
But
But you pay for it anyways.
Yeah.
Wasn't that
Exactly.
last
When it comes- when it-
incentive
when it-
also forcing people to go to triple?
Yes. Oh, yeah. That's that. I mean, those windows needed to be the most expensive window
units ever.
And my understanding, I mean, I've heard you talk about it a few times where they help with sound in that.
Triple is only good for sound.
Yeah, but
don't tell me about anything else
in
other than
Southern
sound.
Ontario, from my understanding, what we were told is that it's not even really necessary.
No,
Double pane is
I
more
will,
than enough.
I will upsell triple
Other
pane
than for
windows
sound.
for one of 2 reasons. One is for sound.
Yeah.
If the front of your house is on a busy highway, or the rear of your house, or any part of your house is against an area of high exposure, lots of wind and lots of weather.
But here's the problem. So let's say you get a house that's being built and it's all spray foamed, and now you spent money on triple. You basically just shot yourself in the foot now, because spray foam is the worst for sound. It amplifies the outdoor.
Because it's solid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just goes right through. So then
but I
there's
thought
no
that was the
point.
best way to insulate your house now.
Our value. Yeah.
It's not the best way. It's what I've learned from speaking to other people,
Do a
because I'm
fla-
never the smartest kid in the
Do
room.
a flash.
I don't claim
It's
to
a
be at all.
hybrid and it's a system.
You do a flash.
You have to do exactly
You
a
flash like an inch
and then a bat.
and then a bat.
But then you also have a bat on the exterior. So now you start doing a system, not a single
This
product.
is good to know because I'm still looking for
No,
my
no,
first house with my fiance. So we're waiting, but
do
we're
not
still
do
looking.
spray foam. If you've got a busy street, you're downtown or whatever, you will hear everybody walking on the street.
Well, I'll tell you this: we're not building, so that's fine. It's just good to know what to look for, right?
Yeah, no, I would do a flash of 1 inch of foam, and then I would fill the rest of the cavity with a bat.
yeah.
That's to start off with, but OBC is already forcing you to put R12 on the outside.
Yeah.
So you got to start by that.
What good is our 12? Like,
No,
couldn't you go better?
No, that's your sheathing. So now
your sheathing, sorry,
So
yes.
they're asking you to go to the thicker sheeting now, and then I would still put the flash of foam 1 inch in the inside, and then I would put another bat on the inside, and now
that
you've got
makes
a
sense,
beautifully sound, like tight house.
Or they'll put up the fabric.
Yeah.
And then just fill it with
Yeah.
the loose fill.
Yeah.
Which is
We're planning
pretty tight.
future shows anyway, right? I'm going to bring Hans back. I want to bring a bunch of other building science people on the show. Let's just talk seriously how it's supposed to be done. It's not about just having zip this and zip that. It's not. I'll tell you right now, it's not one product.
No,
There
it
isn't
never
one
is.
company that has one product that fully, completely makes the home perfect. It doesn't work that way.
There never is.
Yeah, so it's a system that you have to develop and you have to work. And the problem is that you get brands that, well, I don't want to play in that sandbox. I don't want to play in that sandbox. Fuck, well, then get out of the sandbox then.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
And everybody wants to be, the be all and end all of that particular industry. Like they're the best, they're the this, they're the that.
One product to rule them all.
Yeah.
Well, how many different cars are there out there?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, there's more than one, so everybody's different. What else do you want to chat?
We were talking about it the other day. What did you mention last time you were in? You were talking about something you couldn't find. You were having trouble finding.
Sorry to lose me.
I'm
Yeah.
hearing the Jeopardy music right now.
No, just thinking. You had mentioned price increases coming through.
Yeah.
Right now, we're seeing everything stabilize. It's not just us being prepared.
So for the rest of
and
the
that,
year,
but
for the rest of the year, or
I don't want to speak too soon because there's a lot of times
October,
we'll get
November,
a phone
December,
call.
right? So
There's a lot of times
You think
we'll
right
get
before-
a phone
right
call
before Christmas?
that, oh, by the way, that order you placed yesterday is up. We've had that
but that's
plenty
not
of times.
that's not fair. Like, What do
way
you
it
do,
is.
Jay? What do you do? You come back and go to the client and go, by the way.
So I've learned my lesson on that because
Well, how far are you making your quotes now? You
7
still
days.
you're doing 7.
7 days.
I would say it's probably difficult to even do 30.
But you're on a unit. Okay, so how fast? If the average person is getting 12 to 16 weeks, how fast are you getting your units? 6 to 8.
I can have them in a month. 30
Okay, so
days,
you have them
30
in 4 weeks, but
30
then
to
you're given a
60.
quote that's only good for 1.
Now, again, I'll give the quote because little things that I've learned over the COVID phenomenon was
The COVID. Hang on a sec. It's never been the Sky Dome.
Or
It's
whatever
always
it was.
just Sky Dome.
Whatever.
I refuse to give the to COVID.
I mean, it used to be a quote was good for 30 days, 60 days, 90 days.
And if you're in new construction,
can't do
sometimes
that.
it'd be good for a year.
Yeah, you can't.
So
do
I
it
had
now.
I received a text yesterday. Yesterday was Friday. I priced the job back in July of 2021. They went with somebody else. It's fine.
Fair.
No problem.
cheaper reason. Money?
I know who they went with.
Okay, and they're cheaper.
Oh yeah, cheaper,
Okay.
cheaper product, cheaper this. They only did some of the windows in their house. They didn't do them all. Reached out to me, all cheery. Hey Jay, you still busy? I'm sure you're busy. Just letting you know we wanted to move ahead with that window and door project. We had somebody else in. They did some of them because they were doing a renovation. I was like, that's fine. So I said, what did you want to have done? Like, send me the list. So they sent me a list, and like half of them need to still be done.
Okay.
And I just said, hey, listen, let me know what manufacturer was it, because not every manufacturer has the same look, right? So if I'm going to be, you know,
The brick mold, the handles, the
Yeah.
little details.
I'd
yeah.
like to make sure
everybody's
that
going to be different.
I'd like to
Yeah,
make
they're
sure that
all
what I
not.
put in there, I mean, most guys don't care. They just see a business opportunity and go for it. But I wanted to make sure
It's a
that
good question to ask.
I wanted to make sure that what we have and what I have available to me, and if I need to go to a different product line anyway. So here nor there, we went, she's like this and that. And then she says, yeah, just let me know. I took off all the stuff we've done. I could just send you an e-transfer and we can go from there. And I was like,
So
yeah.
you've sent an updated quote?
I said, yeah, maybe.
So why does she want to go with you now instead of the other?
Well,
joker?
because they said they had a bad experience with them. They've had lots of problems
with the units.
with the units they ordered, with the service and everything they received from that.
Did you ask her
company.
how much money she saved by going with them instead of you?
I don't care.
I would care. I want to know what dollar value we're talking about.
I mean,
here.
I also know who they went with and why they had those problems.
What do you
because,
assume the dollar value is?
It'd probably be about 25,000.
Percent? 25?
Well, I mean, that job would have cost them from that other company between 20 to 25. So they would have saved maybe about $5,000 not going with me.
Okay.
But again, they've had a whole host of problems. They want me to come in and deal with that stuff they've had, the issues they've had.
What kind of problem?
Fit finish, windows units not closing properly, even stupid things like a patio door that doesn't close
How does it not?
because it's not set right. You know, the words plumb, level, square clearly not the vocabulary of the
mean
installers.
anything, eh?
Because again, the company that they hired is a company that basically hires installers. So the guys go out, they just work. There's no incentive to do the job fast. There's no incentive to do the job well because all these guys are hammered.
But there's the 5,000 profit margin.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
All the guys get paid their daily wage. They go out and it's like, okay, here's what you got to do. And the scheduler for that particular company will tell them, you've got 3 days to do this job. That's it. So if they have to work 3 15-hour days,
yeah, whatever it is,
they've got to do it. I can't tell you how many times I've been coming to Toronto, say at like 6, 7 o'clock on a weekday, going down the 400, and I'll see these particular company trucks coming back up the 400 at like 8 at night with a cube van and the illegal seat in the middle, and they're all just,
the milk crate.
oh yeah, on the milk crate, all
Midnight.
zoned
Take
out.
the records out and put the milk crate in, and then have a seat.
You can just feel the
Workers don't even
sadness
fit
and
in milk
regret.
crates anymore. That's so disappointing.
You can just feel
They don't.
The new milk crates, they don't fit. You got to get the
What do
old
they
ones.
do to the milk crates?
I don't know. they're a little bit smaller.
I have not seen a new milk. Oh, I haven't had milk in forever, so I don't know what.
Yeah, you go to the grocery store.
The milk crates are smaller?
They're smaller now.
So you can't fit vinyl in there?
No, do you know how difficult it was for me to find the couple of crates that I do have for my small collection of vinyl?
Sorry, we got off on a tangent there, but I was like going back to the 80s, man.
Did want to ask
I'm
you guys a
disappointed.
question.
But basically,
Okay.
what that came down to was I said to her, well, let me revisit the quote. I will reprice it based on these numbers. And she's like, what do you mean reprice it?
Oh, she's assuming that your price still sticks.
She's like, has there been a price increase?
Of
I
course.
said, there's been 3 since this happened.
wow.
She's like, oh,
Lucky
well.
there was only 3. Depends on the product.
And she's like, oh, well, I just assumed that this would price be good. I said, what, for 20 years? I said, the first Model T ever built. I'm thinking in my head, like, that was like nothing. So anyway, I mean, it wasn't a bad conversation, but that, I mean, I can't believe that they've gone through a renovation.
Did you do the job?
Pardon me?
Did you do the
Oh,
job?
this just happened yesterday. So
so this is just starting.
and I said I've got to go out to I've got to go back out to Aurelia. I'll swing by and just put my fresh eyes on it and have a little look, see what they've done.
So you haven't seen what they've done?
I haven't seen what they've done.
It's going to be a car crash.
But I mean, because I'm going out to that area already for another purpose, I'll stop in and have a look. If I wasn't going out to that location, I would literally tell her, I said, okay, well, the first quote we gave you was for free. Because you're an hour away, if you want me to come out there and re-quote all this,
you have to.
We're going to have a little service charge
Yeah,
here.
you have to.
You know, just like on Family Guy with Spider-Man, everyone gets one. Right? But now, because you didn't award me the initial job, now you want me to come in, save the day, do this. Oh, and the other question was, I said to her, when are you hoping to have this done by?
Before Christmas.
She's
I
like,
want it done before.
Well, she said,
for
we're
the
hoping to have
holidays,
it done
and they
before
order now.
Christmas. And I said, the best I can do for you, because you're on the water, is spring. I said, I'm not doing this job because they are literally on the water. She's like, ooh, that's a bit of a far outreach for us. I said, no problem. Take care.
Then hire the Joker again.
And now they're on board. So
regarding quotes, I've got a question for both of you. Your initial quote, how detailed do you get with it? Or do you try to give more of a general
I go
scope?
line by line, right? I mean,
even with the thought that that the homeowner now can take that quote and take it, someone else say, this is what Manny offered. What can you do
in
for
the
me?
quote,
doing
it says they're
thing?
not allowed to do that, and there's legal ramifications. But
I understand
I don't
that,
go
but how
down that
many of
route.
them are?
But if they start doing
reading
that and they come back at me and they go, listen, line item number whatever, I can get that done someplace else for X amount cheaper or whatever, and they keep on doing that, I'm like,
yeah,
bye.
I'm the
No,
same.
no, I don't blame
See
you.
you later.
I do a lot. I'll do
It's a vetting. If you think about it, line by line is a vetting process.
I do a scope of work. So if it's windows and doors, every unit is listed and every unit has a value.
Yeah.
Right. Now, what I do not include on those quotes are measurements, like bedroom window, white on white.
Because you leave that to...
Well, I don't do measurements simply because then, at the very least, if they're going to hand that off to one of my competitors, well, here's what Jason did. I've received quotes from people, copies of quotes, where they'll block out the price, but then all the information is on there. Yeah. So they can't. They'll give me that piece of paper and they say, "Can you quote this job off of that?" And of course, it's never going to be cheaper because if I'm just quoting something off a piece of paper, I'm quoting something based I haven't seen it. It's always going to be higher because I need to cover my bases.
Yeah.
But if I'm there and I see a window that's 36 by 60, I'll write all that down on my notes, but then I'll write down living room window. It's a single hung. It's a casement window, black on black. Here's the price. And I'll write down because I think everything, because then some people will say, okay, well, we can only afford to do these and that. We want to do only the bad ones. But if it's a renovation, if it's a bathroom, if it's a basement, if it's a whatever, I'll go down and I'll give a scope of work and then a unit price.
Okay.
Right? As a quick rough estimate. If they want a broken down, detailed quote, no problem. That will cost X amount of dollars, because if you want me to sit down and do homework for a week, you can have that. It's going to take me my time. You're going to pay for that time.
Of course.
And if you don't want to pay for that time, then, well, we just want a quote. I said, I gave you a quote. I gave you an estimate. Well, we need something more detailed. No problem. Money, please.
The only reason I asked that is because we found lately we're getting a lot more phone calls from now. When I answer them, I'm not sure if they're homeowners, if they are contractors from out of town, but we're getting a lot more calls, people asking for prices. I don't know if they're price shopping their suppliers, if they're price shopping their contractors, or what they're doing. So we've decided, no, give us your email. We'll contact you. We'll send a rep out. In this case, it happens to be my brother, to come see you, and then we'll price you there. Because it's just, I don't know, it's getting weird.
Yeah.
Where there's just too many phone calls asking, what's your price on
Everybody's
this? What's your
shopping.
price on that? What's your price on that?
Everybody's shopping.
I've got that.
But are they doing it to price check their current supplier? Because I'll tell you this, I know that there's about, I'm going to say 50 or more % of them we never see. We never see these new people that are trying to call us for pricing. So that's why we've tried to take a step back from it. I know it's a little bit more generally speaking than what you guys have to do when you give a quote to a client, but
I've been seeing that recently too, though.
It's starting to worry me a little bit, in that there's so many people calling, to the point where I said, look, I'm sorry, I don't give pricing over the phone. We don't give pricing over the phone anymore. You're welcome to come in. We'll show you what we have. We'll give you all the pricing, but I'm not going to do it over the phone. He said, well, I'm coming from far away, so then I'm never coming to you guys. I'm never going to give you business. I said,
thank you.
You're not giving me business now.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry that you feel that way. Have a good day.
Yeah.
I don't know what to say.
I'm seeing that now, though.
It's human nature for somebody.
I have a handful of clients right now who are, they're looking for options for their finishes. They want this, they want that, and they're asking me, and I'm calling up manufacturers. I'm getting ballparks, and I'm throwing numbers out at them before we finalized on a finish they want. Well, I called this company and I called this, and I mean, my numbers are generally around the same, because they're calling as a customer, getting figures, and and I'll always add 20%. I mean, as 20% add-on, and I tell people flat out, I said, if it's just materials you're looking for, I said, I'm going to be about 20% extra on that. And the question is, well, why so much more? And I'll tell them all the time, it's like, well, you're doing this for you. They're like, yeah. I said, that's great. I said, I'm doing this for you. I said, it's not free.
Yeah.
I said, this all figuring out and communicating all this and making the phone calls on my time, my time is my time. But if my time involves pricing your product, then you're paying for that.
Yeah, if you're going to do install only, you have to quote for that. That you're not making even a small markup on the product, because
I've had that conversation with some other contractors where they want me to come in. Well, so and so can't do this job. Can you come and install the product? And I'll give them my install pricing, and they're like, "That's a lot higher than the other guy." And I'm like,
but we've gotten the opposite, where it's like, "Can you quote us on this material? This is what we need." I guess they got a broken down quote from somebody, and not thinking. It's been a while since we've done this. Like I said, we don't like to give detailed quotes anymore this way, but so we give a quote and it's like, and then they call us back. Well, why is your price like this for supply only, but so-and-so priced me? And then you just sit there and you go, oh shit, I just screwed somebody.
Yeah.
Because they're giving a supply and install price. And I'll tell them, I go, the price makes sense. If anything, you got a really good price.
Yeah.
The difference here is you're buying it from the supplier. I've got to try to help defend the guy, whether I think his price is good or not. It's like, you got a good price. He's got to come pick it up, ship it to you, install it, leave the screws there.
Is this a client that's calling you up, or is this another client?
It has happened in the past. Thankfully, I don't think it's happened in a while. Or at least not that we've gotten ourselves caught in between.
Contacting you doing that.
Yeah.
That's not fair on our part.
And
right?
but they have done it in the past, and I'm sure we're not the only ones it's happened to.
Yeah.
I can only think of once or twice where we got caught in the middle, where it's like, oh yeah, we supply this particular product, whether or not they know that the contractor is getting it from us or another supplier.
Yeah.
I've had the odd client who will basically
I'm
sit
just
there
really
and go,
grateful that hasn't happened to us in years, because it was really awkward, where it's like, yeah, but are you going to install it yourself? You don't know which end of a screwdriver to hold. You going to install it?
Clients shouldn't be doing
But I've had the odd client who'll sit there and go, okay, well, say the door is $1,500. Well, you're going to use so much foam, so much caulking, so much of
Clients
this.
have done that?
I've had the odd one that breaks it all down, looks at how much it's going to cost. They look at how much the product could cost and look at the labor rate.
Those are caring clients,
and as soon as they've gone through all that and they show it to me, Once I've seen them doing that, I'll just sit there, smile,
Featured
look at
on the
them,
next
going,
Manny Monday.
"Hey, oh yeah." Well, I look at people. I've literally just look at people. I don't get that anymore, but the odd time I did get it, I was like, "Oh, I left something very important in my truck. Would you mind if I go get it?" They're like, "Oh, what did you forget?" I said, "My dignity." Goodbye, and I just leave.
That's good.
Oh, we're almost wrapping up here, guys. Green Book talk. What are the 4 rights of an
250.
employer?
None.
4 rights of an employer. There's
Well,
none.
I know 2 of the rights are an arm and or leg.
Information, training, instruction, and supervision are provided.
Oh, that we have to provide.
You guys
Yes,
have to
okay,
provide.
that makes sense.
Adequate workplace facilities are available for workers. Any accommodation you provide to your workers is safe. Workers' health and workplace conditions are monitored.
Common human decency.
Exactly. Basically just common sense, right? What are the 6 responsibilities of employers?
Uncommon sense.
Yeah, I know sometimes. Eh? Know your
Just like
employer responsibilities. Act in good faith and treat employees fairly. Pay employees on time. Deduct the correct amounts. Get leave and public holidays right. Health and safety responsibilities of employers. Protect the privacy of your employees. What legislation must be displayed at every workplace? There are various
health
wall
limits.
charts. Yeah,
Yeah.
so
Hazmat,
The
the 1, 2,
WSIB.
3.
yeah, there's the
WSIB,
Basic
that's the one,
Conditions
yeah.
of Employment Act. So that's actually one. The Employment Equality or Equity Act, the Occupational Health and Safety Act, and then Skills Development Act, Tobacco Products Control Act, Compensation for Occupational Injuries and Diseases Act. So there's a lot of stuff that's supposed to be hanging out.
Yeah, and there's that little safety book we have to keep
Exactly.
available for them too.
And
So
that's-
if you're an employer, you're going on your own, your business and everything, you got to be aware of all these things. And
But when you're on a new construction job site, that's a good sign when you can see a contractor who is aware of those things, because
They have their stations.
they'll
set
have
up.
you'll walk in. As
Yeah.
soon as you walk in, they'll see hard hats hanging up for visitors. They'll have
none of them are ever dark blue.
They'll have
Never.
the station set up.
Never.
They'll have the station set up, and they'll have, like, on a 4x8 sheet of plywood, the permits, all the necessary paraphernalia for, like, those posters and things like that.
Yeah, that was one thing I liked when I did
First aid
suppression
station.
before I came back to work for to work for Universal.
Yeah.
After school, I went and worked for about a year doing fire suppression. And when you'd go on a newer build, you'd have to go in, like, your first entire morning was a safety meeting and all the paperwork, and you have to fill all kinds of stuff out. They give you a little sticker saying, yeah, you're approved to work on this
Yeah,
site. You stick on
yeah.
your hat. I liked that.
Yeah.
Because then you go to, I would go to other sites, and whether it was new or it was a rental, didn't matter.
See you
It
guys
was
on
just a
step
nightmare.
ladders, standing on the top step.
It's a nightmare.
See,
It's
like,
too easy just to glaze over it and
Yeah.
not actually
Guys
have
are
that
in running
conversation
shoes, no shirts.
with an employee, right? Like it's too easy. And then all of a sudden, in the event of something happening, everyone can kind of help each other to get out of the structure safely, right? That's
Yeah.
the whole point of it.
But it's like you said, and it's like you've said you do on your sites. You can really tell who takes the time to go
Yeah.
over. Whether or not people follow it and ignore it is irrelevant, but you can really tell who the contractors, the builders are who take that extra
Yeah.
step just to make
Well,
sure.
it goes a long way. It's the same thing if your site's clean or if there's debris everywhere.
Yeah.
If there's even any garbage cans anywhere. Like it's just like everybody pitch in.
Exactly.
That's all it is,
Like,
man.
everybody's going to have the safety information there and make you do some kind of meeting, but whether or not it's a bullshit meeting or it's an actual meeting are two
Yeah.
different things.
But I understand that the government here in Canada, and I'm sure other countries do the same thing, is that they put all that onto the employer, but it's a two-way street, man.
Yeah.
Like, so as an employee, you should be bringing it up and discussing
but
it.
it's also,
I agree.
It's also building habits.
Yeah.
Right, because that's an important thing. I mean, like, I know in Japan on the subway stations they have they call it a point and talk, so that the inspectors will come out and they point at certain key things that are safety features, and they'll point at, like, okay, green light, the doors are clear, the track is clear. They'll point at these things,
yeah.
and that brings an attention to it.
Yeah.
But
Right,
like-
and
like
it's
you
the same
said-
thing, and it's the same thing on our sites. Like, if you know every morning, get there 15 minutes early, you're gonna have your little talk. You're gonna do this. You're gonna do that. Even though it's BS and, like, there's always snickering and stupid guys and everyone's making a joke of it. But if at least something is said and you're bringing attention to those things, it's then that becomes a habit.
Yeah.
So that, okay, well, yeah, we got to look at that, and before you get on this, and then when something catastrophic could occur, you're catching it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But
So
I'm sure you guys have seen it on sites too. And like you said, it's on the employee too. But, when we're out there, especially when we're young, dumb, it's like, well, if I unclip, I can shimmy out that extra 2 or 3 inches onto the sledge to reach.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
I've done it.
It's
We've
that
all done
extra
it,
little
but-
moment, that little second.
Yeah.
That's when something's going to happen.
Always, right? So
And I think the
like you
age,
said, it's on the employees as much as the employer.
as you get older, you start talking to yourself, going, back off,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
back off. That's it, man.
I'm pulling up to some jobs, looking at it, going, no.
I'm not
See
doing
ya.
it. Ciao.
Yeah.
Oh,
I've
guys.
done it. Stand on top of a 12-foot A-frame just to reach.
No, man.
And then, now
you get older, you start realizing, no, it's not worth it, man.
No.
Let's just redo everything. Get
Like,
it.
oh, we're going to need a ladder for that.
That's
You're
it.
a contractor. You don't have a ladder?
Yeah.
I gotta
get me a
step
lift and
too
I'll
tall.
do it.
I want to do the 12 questions again with you, Alex. Are you cool with that, man? Because we
Yep.
haven't done it on videos. So let's do the
do
12
it.
questions. Ready?
Ready?
What is your favorite construction word?
Fuck.
What is your least favorite construction word?
Can't.
What turns you on in construction?
Getting a job done
What turns
properly.
what turns you off in construction?
Cutting corners for the sake of saving a few bucks.
What is your favorite curse word?
Still going to say fuck.
What is your favorite car, vehicle, anything?
Anything reliable. Period. Reliable.
A to B.
A to B.
Smart car?
No.
You said reliable.
I said reliable. Okay, a little bit higher off the ground than a car. I prefer an SUV or something like
What
that.
is your
I'm good.
least favorite vehicle?
Something electric currently. I'm not completely against them,
Something electric.
but
Listen,
I just
current-
don't.
currently.
I'm very respectful of the company and the man and what he's built and everything.
All
like
the
that.
companies.
Great. Would I ever get one? No.
No, I think there's a place for them and a time for them. I just don't think it's yet. We're not. Our infrastructure's not there.
Yeah,
Sorry, we were talking about that a little bit earlier.
2159, and
I think it'll come,
the place would
and
be
I'm not against it.
Earth
But
2 or something. I don't know.
yeah,
What construction sound or noise do you love?
saw. Actually, it's more of the smell. Fresh cut wood.
Any particular wood?
Well, wet cedar always smells amazing.
Yeah, cedar's got a nice. Yeah. What construction sound or noise do you hate?
Something getting jammed. Here in my shop,
you hear it,
and I hear it when
When you
somebody's
hear it,
running one of my
it's
machines,
almost
and
like a
I-
child
something
screaming,
binding.
eh?
something binding, saw hitting metal,
Yeah.
or when we have somebody's running one of our machines, and you hear that one missed, that one skipped roll or jams, and then but you hear it continuing happening because they didn't catch it.
And you
Weren't
think
paying
the
attention.
worst, eh? Like you
Yeah,
actually
always.
think the ultimate worst of what's going on.
What most guys don't realize, so vacuums, vacuums have the little ball that can get sucked up sometimes.
Yeah,
or
yeah.
if the hose gets jammed. Never in my day have I ever heard any. So I'll be there working. I can just hear the pitch of the vacuum. Then you, and they're still they're so unaware, and I'm like, hey,
It's full. It's full. It's yeah.
and they're like, what's going on?
What profession other than your own would you like to attempt?
I'd still say I'd like to do a little bit of everything. So kind of
Teacher?
a hands-on GC. No. Hands-on GC. I like learning. I like.
Oh, you
I like
don't
working
you don't
with
want to get
hands.
paid.
It's not much different in my end, on my end of it. So
True, it's true. What profession would you not like to do?
I don't like sitting. I wouldn't want to sit in an office.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's a different.
I'm kind of in an office, but I'm in the warehouse, so I'm always running around doing something.
You're
But sit in a
on your
cubicle,
feet. I mean,
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
in
sit
there
in a
doing your
cubicle
stuff. but
behind
I
a
mean,
computer. I'd sleep half
your
the day.
job's very active, I think.
Yeah.
Last question: if heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
You did it. There's a cold beer in the fridge. Have fun.
It's good to know there's beer up there, huh?
I hope so.
Alex, pleasure seeing you again, man. I really
Always a good
appreciate you
time.
coming on. I
Good
love it.
seeing you,
Thank you so
buddy. Thank you for
much,
having me
man.
back.
Universal Aluminum Products, everybody. Website www.universalaluminumproducts.ca, and his email. Get a hold of him and buy some Hilti from him, man.
Hilti, Milwaukee.
Hilti. Alex at
Keystone.
universalaluminumproducts.ca and on IG Universal Aluminum Products. That's it.
That's it.
That's it. We're out of here, man. We're gone. Thank you very much, Jay.
Thanks, Alex. Thanks,
No
Manny.
problem. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.